Hey guys, good to see you guys already in the chat, already discussing XRP. So we'll talk about XRP a little bit today, see what's up with that, and then move on and see what's up with the rest of the altcoin market. How are you guys doing? Everyone all right? Hope so anyway. Good evening, my man. Good evening. So yeah, before we start, big shout out to Bybit for sponsoring the show. Really do appreciate it. They keep adding new cool stuff to the exchange. So if you want to check them out. The link's in the description. Yeah. I mean, today's just gonna be a weird day where it's kind of like the altcoins are starting to play out like I wanted them to. It's just still crazy to just see it because this is some nasty droppage on some of them. Hello, Cred. It's not Cred. It is not Cred for you today. For why not stream? Yep, basically. So yeah, before we start with any altcoins, quick look at Bitcoin. High time frames, still massively bullish. Nothing there to kind of make any bad indication. The 17th meme that we talked about last week, we still haven't really taken that out, but it's at least not been as explosive as it has been before. For the people that don't know what I'm talking about, because they missed the last episode, we've had some swing points on the 17th of December in Bitcoin's history. Over here, and now we kind of crossed the 17th with not too much bad things happening, whatever. So yeah, you get what I'm saying. That is a good indication, but in general, it's not looking too bad. I think low time frames still a bit choppy. I've seen people talk about head and shoulders. Kinda. I don't know. It's a pretty bad one. But if it does start breaking down these lows, I could see it. Until then, I don't think it makes much sense to be super bearish Bitcoin, because really, if you want to be bearish something, you have an easy target and an easy choice, and that's been altcoins. And that's still where the weakness is. So I don't want to necessarily short them just based on the fact that Bitcoin's trading above 20K, but they're definitely showing weakness. I mean, there's no good way to say this. I mean, if you're just looking at ETH, and ETH is pretty much one of the strongest ones of the bunch, you get what I'm saying, right? High time frame, losing support, starting to lose support. Even more so on the monthly, had this bearish retest last month. We've talked about this a couple times, and now it's breaking down. So yeah, a miracle would have to happen in the next 7 days. I mean, it's Christmas. Maybe we get some kind of Christmas miracle have to happen in the next few days. But I'm not going to assume that's going to happen before it actually does happen. Bloodbath happening before our eyes, yeah, kinda, man, kinda. It's been rough for altcoin holders. With the exception of ETH, most of these altcoins are actually trading pretty much at the exact same price that they have been for months, while Bitcoin's doubled, basically. So yeah, there is some pain going around, and even in ETH, it's starting to creep in. And then the biggest one, obviously, and for the people that only watch the stream and don't watch my Twitter, so I said last week that I was interested in a long on XRP. Got a really nice bounce out of it, but obviously it broke down to the downside, right? I've been tweeting about this pretty much non-stop. So, I mean, I think everyone's seen it, but if you didn't, the SEC starting to kind of go after Ripple should have been the exit sign, even if you kept it. And this as well, so close below the range, something that you don't want to see, at that point you just get out, right? So even if you didn't see the news, even if you didn't see me tweet, there's several indications to kind of, leg it out of there. So yeah, XRP looking pretty weak. Where's next support? Honestly, there's none. I mean, you can zoom out further and there's gonna be some support left. I mean, just look at the older exchanges, right? Oh shit, that did play out pretty well. Stopped pretty much at one of them, but I mean, this is making new lows. This is just bad news. So where am I gonna buy this? I'm just not interested whatsoever. I don't really see the point. I mean, whenever you have this kind of legal guillotine, Jesus, I probably butchered that word. When you have like this kind of these bad news, these legal implications kind of hanging over your head, you don't really, like, even if this short squeezes or something, I just don't want to be involved. It just doesn't make much sense to me. Terrifying to watch, yeah. It's kind of crazy. Like, I mean, this is just rug pulling of one of the big coins. So pretty bad news. And this obviously has implications for the other altcoins. Some of the weaknesses from XRP is kind of moving over into the other altcoins. I mean, they are all a little bit correlated. So XRP taking a beating obviously has an impact on the rest of it. And I mean, XRP USD, I talked with a few friends this morning. It was like, I mean, if you want to buy it at 30 cents and then play the bounce, but you're not going to get much more than that. And that's already kind of played out. Hit 30 cents, bounce to almost 40. Now it's kind of just looking shitty, right? So I don't want to get involved in any of this. I mean, this just looks like a rug pull. We've seen these before, and then yeah, it just doesn't make much sense to get involved in my mind. Guillotine, I think I said that, but I don't know, and I don't know how to pronounce it. Maybe that was wrong again. But yeah, that's XRP. Like, and when you have XRP looking like this, you obviously don't want to get over leveraged in the other altcoin on the long side. Just doesn't make much sense. You know, there's weakness in the market. Yeah, it makes more sense to kind of be risk off because everyone else in the market is going to be risk off as well. So yeah, that's XRP. Another long setup that I've been talking about last week was Litecoin. That moved up pretty nicely from where we talked about it to like 25% up. I got out of this position, and a lot of people have asked me why. And there's a few reasons for this. One, I mean, it's very obviously still a bearish chart, right? So, I mean, the overall direction of this has been down, even though we've been kind of making like low time frames, higher lows here and higher highs. The overall overarching structure is bearish, right? So right from the get-go, you have that kind of looming above your head. You know this is a bearishly trending market. You don't want to be too long focused in that kind of market. And then two, what you don't want to be buying in a downtrending market is sideways movements. I know a lot of people on Twitter keep talking about like this is accumulation no matter what happened before. It's not necessarily the case, and in my opinion, it doesn't make much sense to kind of buy sideways. What you do want to buy with altcoins are either like when the drop gets unreasonable for no reason. I mean, XRP has a reason, so that's a little bit different. But if it does get unreasonable to the downside, and when you get a lower high like this after a big drop and a big V reversal, like those are the two like main ways you can get involved in altcoins. None of those happened in Litecoin, so I was a little bit afraid from the get-go. Didn't want to stick around too long. The only reason why I wanted to stick around in the first place was because Litecoin outperformed everything. Like the entire market, including like Bitcoin goes up, Litecoin goes up more. Like that's been the case for a few days, if not weeks. So that's why I was interested, right? But now that we're actually starting to just chop in a sideways range, not too interested anymore. I still think Litecoin is the best looking altcoin out of like most of them, but it just doesn't make much sense to play altcoins in general right now. That can change really quick, but right now, not too big of a fan. So that is kind of my view on Litecoin. And if we do start losing support down here, I think that gets ugly really fast. The only kind of way to get back into this, to get convinced by this kind of structure, because really what's been happening is we've just been chopping around this level. And you could argue, yeah, we closed back above resistance last week. But, I mean, you can kind of see how it doesn't really, like Litecoin doesn't really care. It's not been acting as support. It's just been choppy. So, just not too convinced. But, I mean, I'd love this to kind of go up and then get a new position going. I died a little with Zcash. Yeah, we can talk about Zcash. I'm pretty sure I've been very bearish on Zcash in the stream. So weekly Litecoin still not closed though. Yeah, I mean this could still turn around, but like something that I keep talking about on stream and on Twitter too. You have this kind of breakdown, right? This here breakdown into like a reclaim. What you don't want to see is just immediately go back below the reclaim. And that's kind of what this is doing. So what this is kind of like what's happened here. Yeah, it could still close back above it, but that already, like this red candle already shows weakness. But yeah, you could make an argument for it's closed above resistance, and it's probably gonna be support towards the end of the week. And I mean, I'm fine with that. But when the general altcoin market, and I mean, you just have to look at Bitcoin Cash, for example, is making new lows, am I gonna be expecting that out of okay, I'm in this position, I want to keep it, or am I gonna do it for logical reasons? And I don't think that's necessarily the case, right? So I mean, if you look at this and then look at all the other altcoins, you kind of get the feeling that this is a fake breakout. And yeah, the fact that it's already managed that makes it much more interesting than the other altcoins, but still not interesting enough. Don, why don't you short XRP when it's so bearish? I don't want to short at 30 cents. I mean, this is the support level. I could even see like at some point like this chop here and then shoot for 43, 45, like even this resistance before finally breaking down. And then every kind of FOMO shorter gets wrecked completely. I would be interested in shorting at 48 if we do get back up there. But I don't need to FOMO short any of this. Even more so given the fact, and I don't know if you guys have followed my Twitter, but Germany is making leverage trading really difficult. So, I mean, just shorting is pretty much out of the picture for me starting next year. So if I'm shorting here, it goes sideways for 2 weeks. We're in the next year and I can't keep the position. So for me, it just doesn't make much sense. Like I'm going to be limited in what I can do in the trading world. I'm going to have to kind of see how I can work around it, but it's going to be difficult. So for me, not too much to do right now. No word from your accountants on that. They're still working on it. They're trying to make a strategy that works, but it's not looking too good. Don't only spot trade. Oh, yeah, it fucking sucks, man. I'll figure it out one way or another, but it sucks. So, yeah. Shorting near support is dangerous, might get short-term bounce. Yeah, you get these short squeezes around support from time to time. So it's a little bit dangerous. But yeah, this XRP thing is dragging everything down. But it's not necessarily because, oh, XRP is going down, so everything is crashing and it would have otherwise gone up. Because you can clearly see, like, we talked about this, right? The monthly chart on ETH. This is clearly a bearish retest, right? So there was something cooking for the last month. It's not necessarily only because of XRP, and I'm pretty sure the people at XRP already knew this was coming anyway. Kind of wild that they're going for this airdrop, whatever, to pump it into those kind of news, but I mean, it's XRP. It's not the first time. So yeah. And yeah, now we have this situation where pretty much every other altcoin looks shitty. And I mean, ADA, double low here. I mean, that could hold for a while, but really not too convincing. EOS breaking new lows, TRX breaking new lows. I mean, this is what I've been waiting for, right? And this is what we've been waiting for. It's just brutal to watch because, you know, people are stuck in this. Just hope none of you get caught because, yeah. What's happening now is either one of two things. I mean, there's more opportunities, but one of two things is going to happen here, in my opinion. Like, I'd say this here, like, just capitulate here, go down, and I mean, this is pointing to zero. So I don't think it goes quite that deep, but just a straight up capitulation into a sharp bounce, and then you're gonna be back to rallying again, or just a capitulation sideways, and then maybe shallow bounces, and then it's fucked. And I mean, we're gonna see if the altcoin market still has power in it the moment it starts reclaiming this, because like if we start breaking down here and then just massively reverse out of there, I think there's a good chance that we go from here to here. If not from here to like up here maybe. But if we can't do that, if we just keep on doing what we've been doing, which is bearish retest, bearish retest, bearish retest, yeah, I mean, it continues to be in trouble. And like I've been saying, I'm waiting for capitulation. Haven't had that yet in ages. We're starting to break new lows. That's where people usually capitulate. So fingers crossed that we get it. But I mean, there's a world in where I buy capitulation and then it goes to zero. And I have to live with that. So we'll see. I'm back holding Bitcoin Cash until 50K per Bitcoin Cash. I mean, good luck, bro. Now retail and current crypto all buying BTC. Yeah, I mean, we've had this in the past before, right? Where people are FOMOing into Bitcoin. People sell their altcoins for Bitcoin. In general, it's always been a wise move over the long term. But usually when people start selling their crypto for Bitcoin because they're FOMOing into Bitcoin, that's usually like at least close to a temporary bottom. But like I said, over the long run, I mean, let's say you FOMOed into Bitcoin at the bottom of this drop. You're like, okay, shit, I had this. It's already down 80%. I'm selling. And then it bounces. And if you didn't rebuy, you're still better off than the person that is holding right now by 70%. So these can go much, much lower than you'd think. And I mean, it's the same with any of these, right? If you bought, like if you panic sold the bottom here, still 80% better off. So, I mean, over the long run, I think in general, altcoins are going to suffer against Bitcoin anyway. USD pairs might be a little bit different. But whenever you get these bounces, they're quick and they're really nice to play. So that's kind of what everyone is hoping for. But yeah, if you're not like a super, super good, super plugged in trader, I mean, betting on those is a little bit dangerous. So And yeah, E is starting to break new lows, or like getting close to it anyway. How do you deem an entry after during capitulation? We can talk about it, but it's not as easy as it sounds. In general, what happens is you get these moves that start slow and then start accelerating, right? And what then happens is the bottom falls out and it's just straight down. You can kind of see this here. So you have this move, right? And then here, the bottom fell out. Like this is straight up capitulation here. The thing is, like this kind of capitulation that we're talking about in the crypto sphere sometimes goes on for forever, basically. Like this can take weeks to months of this kind of price movement. But in general, when you start moving above the area where it started capitulating, you're in for a nice up move. So for years, for example, if it does go back, and I know this is quite a bit away, like if it does go back above 1 point, like this is 1400 sats. I don't know why Binance is deleting the last number, but 1400 sats, right? If it does go back above there, I think it's gonna fly. But until that happens, I mean, you're just guessing bottoms. And I mean, if it gets completely crazy, I'm gonna guess a bottom and just stick my neck out and pray that I don't get run over. But I'm gonna assume that I will be run over, right? But yeah, for me, this is already capitulation. And how you can kind of tell the end of capitulation is just, I mean, for me, it's always been sentiment. And I mean, that's been working really well over the years. On Twitter, on Reddit, everywhere, you can kind of check it. So when you see people get visibly angry, upset about all of this, and then you get these weird posts on Reddit that are talking about, okay, yeah, I'm just so over it. I don't even care if it goes. Like, that's usually the end, where people are like, okay, I'm selling now because I don't really care. Even if it goes up, I'm just glad it's over. That's usually very close to the bottom. But yeah, so sentiment, speed up of the negative parabola, or whatever you want to call it. So this kind of like last speed up, and then some buying action going on. Because I mean, this can capitulate, and then if no one is ready to buy it, just goes and goes and goes and doesn't go up. It can still get worse. Yeah. This is the first time the market is not entirely retail driven. The institutions buying Bitcoin aren't buying these shitcoins, so I feel like the capitulation is just starting if Bitcoin runs higher. I mean, the thing is, the USD capitulation hasn't even happened, right? So, I mean, XRP, even though it's rug pulled, it's still trading roughly where it's been trading for the last, I mean, this is kind of funny to talk about, but XRP, since 17, it's not really been moving all that much. I mean, it's gone up a shitload, it's gone down a shitload, but like overall, we've been consolidating on XRP for 4 years. And yeah, nothing's happened on the USD pairs. It's all relative to Bitcoin, but that doesn't make it hurt less if you're stuck in altcoins. And a lot of people are 100% in altcoins. And if you're chilling 100% in altcoins, you're kind of living through this, which is eternal purgatory, right? I mean, imagine just being stuck in something that hasn't moved in 300 days while Bitcoin's just gone up 5x. Hey Dawn, will there be any Medium articles from you anytime soon? Really love those. Maybe one about altcoins in this market cycle. I mean, that's a good question. I would love to do one. It's just I'm moving in 2 weeks, so I still have a lot to prepare for that afterwards, maybe like in February once I've settled in and everything. So me chilling 80% in Bitcoin. Yeah, good shit, man. Good shit, man. I've been chilling in 100% in Bitcoin for the longest time now, just with like occasional stabs in the dark on the altcoins. And I mean, if you just look over my posts on Twitter, when I said I was closing XRP at 58 58 cents. People are like, why are you closing? You were like targeting higher, right? But this is what you risk by being in altcoins. And don't get me wrong, like just because this is like, I mean, XRP is especially shitty, and I've kept saying that for years and years now. But just because this is XRP doesn't mean like it can't happen to your altcoin, right? The longer you are in an altcoin, the likelier this kind of rug pull is. So, I mean, something doesn't do what you want it to do. Like for example, Litecoin. Love the situation that Litecoin is in, the strength in comparison to everything else, but don't like the move. I mean, I just get out. And I've done that over the years, like so many times. I've so far not had a loser on the front of Litecoin longs pretty much since we started breaking down here. It's just been, you buy. And this is kind of the nice thing about these altcoins, because for some reason, whenever these altcoins bounce, crypto Twitter expects an alt season. And I mean, the entire community does, right? So whenever you buy, like you get a buy signal on anything, what always happens is this tiny bounce. And then you can kind of judge, okay, how strong is this bounce? Is this really all this amazing, or is it not? And if it's not, you just get out and then you pocket whatever you got. Like sometimes it's 5%, sometimes 15, sometimes even 20, and you get out. And then if it's a weak bounce, more often than not, it just keeps on going down. People get wrecked, and then you get another chance lower. You try again. The lower it goes, the higher the ceiling is, right? So let's say down here, if you're longing Litecoin, and it actually does start to attract buyers. I mean, there's a shitload of room to go, right? Because I mean, higher than this, it's not gonna go. Like, I don't think this is probably the top for it forever, right? Or at least like maybe we stab that at some point, but I don't think it's gonna go much higher than this. So the lower it goes, the further away the ceiling is. The reason why I don't think it's going above there is because whenever it starts approaching Bitcoin market cap, I think it's not going to happen. Like a flippening of sorts from an altcoin above Bitcoin, I doubt that's going to happen in the next few years. And if it does happen, it's going to be short term, and it's going to be limited to just a few days at most, and then it just is going to be the top. That's how it's always been. XRP has flipped Bitcoin market cap before, and then that's been the altcoin top pretty much. So institutions buy Bitcoin, retail buys shitcoin, institutions win again. I mean, it's kind of funny because like the main kind of driving force behind these altcoins, or like behind in general crypto, has always been, okay, you can't just print more, right? But with altcoins, you can print more. You can print an unlimited amount of altcoins. So you can jump from one to the other. So like the best selling point of these cryptos doesn't really exist for altcoins. So, I mean, yeah, there's a few that are trying to do the right thing. There's a lot, probably. But like the fundamental doesn't really change. So yeah, with altcoins, gotta be quick, gotta have like strong conviction and a good reason to get in. And you don't even need too good of a reason to get out. So that is the majors. Like I said, if I had to rank it, I think Litecoin is still gonna outperform everything. It's just when everything else is dumping, Litecoin might dump as well. It's just not gonna dump as hard. That's why I closed it, to get back to the point that we were talking about. And then Link, I posted about this as well on Twitter up here. I was like, this looks pretty shitty. Really regret not shorting it, because I mean that would have been a nice move. Pretty much tweeted at the top. But like I said, I can't keep short positions around for too long. So it's kind of been, Germany bending me over. So I kind of have to live with it. I'm going to have to look for longs in general from now on. Which coin we talking about? Multiple, man. Multiple. But yeah, don't look at the phone if you're driving, bro. Just don't do it. So yeah, Link we're talking about right now, and it hit resistance, sold off from 13 all the way back to 11. I don't know, like I've seen Loomdart bought it. I don't really see a good reason why. For me, it's kind of like, as long as it's losing this green level, it's completely in the middle of nowhere. And I'd expect, because it's hit resistance, that it's going to hit support, even though support is quite a bit away. So maybe we don't do that. But in general, for me, there's nothing here. So Link's pretty boring as well. I hate when I have to do this, where it's like, I'm talking about altcoins. I'm like, it just has to go above this line or this level, and then we can actually have some fun again. And then it just never does. And I'm just sitting here being like, having to look at these boring ass altcoin charts that don't do anything. It's a struggle. What has Germany to do with it? It's a tax law, pretty much, where you get taxed on your winnings and you can't kind of write off your losses. So if you make 100k, you lose 80k in the next trade, you're done for the year, you've made 20k, still have to pay taxes on the entire 100k. So you're pretty screwed at that point, even more so because taxes in Germany are quite high. So let's say, I mean, you calculate with 45% of taxes, you're actually underwater on that year, just based on the taxes alone, even though you should be up. So that is the situation. That's going to be around in Germany starting from 1st of January. So I won't be able to short any of these. Just going to have to play spot and then just move or find a way to kind of work around it, which I'm trying to, but it's obviously Christmas and my accountants are, not around, or like they are around, but obviously with their families. So move to England and be miserable. I mean, you can't trade leverage in England as well, as far as I'm aware. Starting to change on January as well. So it's just gonna come around. I think it's gonna be one of these things that just goes from one country to the next. So yeah. BAT, love the coin. We talked about this before. Just utter destruction. Dogecoin, Elon Musk shills it and it dumps. This tells you everything you need to know about the altcoin market. And this is something I told Jules. And I mean, I could have got, like, Jules bought quite nicely, like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 sats, like that range, right? And then he came to me and was like, dude, this has gone up. What is it gonna do now, right? Because like this entire pump was based on Elon Musk tweeting about Dogecoin, right? And I told him, and I mean, I still think this is true, when Elon Musk tweeting about Dogecoin only moves it by 2 to 3 sats, that's fucked. That's bearish. And it's clearly bearish. And I mean, that's how it looks like so far. I mean, maybe we just range here and then go up at some point. But for me, this is clearly bearish. No way around it. Like when you get selling into that kind of thing, people don't want to like bet on a breakout. They want to be as secure as they can. And being in Dogecoin isn't that. So where is it going to go? High time frame wise, I mean, we're chilling at support. We chilled at this support before, but I think it's time to break it and then see if we get buys below it. And I want to get like 7 sats, 8 sats would be lovely if I get it. If it doesn't break down and it just goes up, I'm going to be interested in this range. Like, I'm not saying it's 100% breaking down. I'm just saying, like, I think it's more likely to break down. Like, it's more likely to do this than this. But if it does the secondary option, like if it does take out the Elon Musk high, if it does come back in the range, I think there's a chance there to play it. But it doesn't really look like it, right? That's because Musk was joke posting. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Like the guy is like one of the biggest personalities to pump stuff. Like, just look at Tesla. Like, there's so much money involved, and when you don't, like, if that's not enough, there's clearly like people trying to get out. The taxes in Germany is just for derivatives or spot too. So you generally pay taxes, but that change that I talked about is for derivatives. So I can still trade altcoins. I can still buy and sell my Bitcoin spot holdings, which is pretty, like, that's a joke. Can do it, but I mean, it's not really something, like, it's not really what I want to be trading, like, because I'm gonna have to have like most of my money on an exchange. So hate that, but it is what it is. So yeah, Dogecoin. Any coins you guys want to talk about? Because yeah, mine all look like shit. Like, all of these look trash. Nano, bearish retest, we talked about this before. Komodo didn't even manage the bearish retest. VeChain, we talked about the bearish retest before. ICX, gonna make new lows, bearish retest here. Looks pretty shitty. Just gonna have to wait and see how it does. XTC, back at range lows, still look completely trash. Zcash, I mean, this is crypto Twitter's most hottest coin, and this is how it looks like. So it's like, I mean, what do people expect from me, right? Like, it's impossible to be bullish on this. Like, it's literally impossible to be bullish on this. I mean, if it does go back up here, then I can see it, right? But down here, not a big fan. So yeah, it's just, I mean, these altcoins have been bleeding out for years. And the thing is, right, the one thing that you have to realize is whenever people talk about shorting this, people come out of the woodwork and say, why are you shorting this? It's clearly in an uptrend. Just buy the dips, right? For good reason too, right? There's a good reason why I've been chilling on the shorts since 10K. I've just been looking to see where this goes, right? Just riding it up. And I'm more than happy to do that. There's a good reason for that, because, I mean, it's clearly trending, right? And this can go much higher than you or I would expect, just based on the fact that, I mean, there's not really any resistance left, right? And then you look at the opposite side of things on the altcoins, and then people are telling me the opposite is not true. This is just gonna go back up. And yeah, it could, obviously, but the trend is clearly down, right? So you have to have a really, really good reason to get long this. And if your reason for ETH BTC buying like all in ETH BTC here is because you see people on Twitter just posting about ETH BTC, which is gonna go like super up, that's not good enough of a reason, in my opinion anyway. So when these altcoins are bearish, or like when anything is trending hard, you don't want to necessarily stand in the way of that if you can avoid it. Sometimes it's time to do so. I've done so before, but I'm not seeing anything like that yet. I mean, this is starting to capitulate too. Like, these kind of candles, you can kind of see how it's accelerating, but I mean, where's like the support that you want to all in buy? Like, even if you want to buy this support, which, I mean, I can kind of see, right? It's a good support, which I've been talking about for a long time. Like, where's this going, right? At best up here, and then I'd expect another move lower, and then maybe we find a bottom. But yeah, you gotta be a little bit careful with the altcoins, at least against Bitcoin. Like, if you have money that you want to be spending in the crypto markets, it's been a good bet to put it on Bitcoin, and so far there's no real indication that that's gonna change. But if it does, like we get a link up here and actually find support up here, then we could go and put in a little bit more work. Okay, let me see what you guys written. Zcash we talked about. Bitcoin Cash. I mean, Bitcoin Cash, there's not much to say, my friend. Where's Bitcoin Cash? Am I blind? There it is. Like, it's making new lows. like this chart, like, I mean, there's no support left. This is basically the inverse of Bitcoin. It's pretty much the exact same thing. If you're not picking tops on Bitcoin, you shouldn't be picking bottoms on this. If you're picking tops on Bitcoin, you haven't had enough of doing that. I mean, you could knife catch this. And I think at some point, like, let's say you're buying, like, this is capitulation, and I think it is, right? I think this is the acceleration. So it is capitulation in my mind. I could see you get profit. Like, if you buy here, I could see you be profitable in a year, like prices be higher. The question is, does it go back half on you, lose 50% of its value, then bounce? Because if it does, are you gonna sell the bottom down here? Most likely you will, just how it usually works. If you're an investor, you don't really care about that, right? I mean, you just buy and you're happy that you bought it. And then if it goes lower, you might be in a position to buy more, or you're just like, okay, I bought this because I believe in it. And then that's a different story. But so far, like, even for Bitcoin Cash, like, even the most aggressive longs would have to be back above this red line, in my opinion. If it does get back above this red line, I think there's a play to be made. If it doesn't, I mean, kind of sticking your head out for very little reason. So, yeah. Thoughts on Ledger hack? We can talk about that real quick too. So, for the people that don't know, Ledger got hacked. 250,000 people's addresses and phone numbers got just got hacked. So people have access to those. They were sold for the last 6 months, I think, on the dark web. Now they're public, so everyone can kind of see them. Totally fucked up situation. I don't really think there's any kind of redemption for Ledger. I mean, they just fucked up. And I've seen a lot of friends on those lists. I've seen an old address of mine on that list. And it's just fucked up. So, I mean, there's not that much to say about it. I'm not going to be buying another Ledger product. Just, yeah. And yeah, it's terrifying. Like, there's never, like, you know, if your name's on that list and your phone number and your address, there's a 99.9% chance that nothing's ever going to happen to you because of it. I mean, that 0.01% chance that something does happen, it's just not the nicest feeling to have, right? So, yeah. Are we going to dump after Christmas? If anything, I think, like, Bitcoin, when is it going to kind of stop being infinitely bid? And I think that might be in the new year. So this year ends, people, because, I mean, if you're buying grayscale Bitcoin, your balance sheet looks pretty nice. You had exposure to Bitcoin. I mean, the premium's pretty high. It kind of looks like you've done really well for the bigger institutions, for the bigger players in general. Just looks nice. You have exposure to a market that's up a shitload, right? If that grayscale buying continues on in the next year, I think there's very little chance of, like, significant crashes. But if it doesn't, I think there's a good chance that it does pull back significantly. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. In general, like, the only kind of way I could see this dump really hard, and still, like, 20k is, for me, is the line in the sand, right? You should not go back below 20k. As long as you're trading above there, this just looks bullish, right? The only way I could see this dump here is if it's on Christmas or the day after Christmas, because you're not gonna have the institutional bid that you usually have. Books are thinner, and then I could see it drop below 20k and still be bullish. So gotta be, like, if you're in a long position around Christmas time, it's a little bit more dangerous than usual, because, I mean, you're in more danger because the books are thinner. But other than that, I don't think there's too much to talk about. And if we just like move back down below 20k over the next week or two or three, I think that's a danger sign, because then you could start getting this shitty, like, I mean, you can kind of see where this is going if it does do so, but so far no indication that it should. So I'm not gonna speculate on that. I've just been trading the altcoins, and I mean, that's been pretty nice, honestly. Like, it's been good volatility on the altcoins, so there's not really too much reason to do much else. I mean, Bitcoin continues to go up until proven otherwise. Altcoins continue to go down until proven otherwise, basically. Will there still be an old season, you think? I think a smaller one, yes. Not as big. And we kind of had one with DeFi this year, so I think that's pretty much the old seasons that we're going to get from now on. Someone asked for Wi-Fi, so we can look at that. Do I have it in my list? Probably somewhere. Whatever. Just look it up. Wi-Fi USDT. Look at that. It's like, this is so nice. We made this ages ago, and if you guys remember, on stream I said lose this, we go back to support. Went to support, went even lower. Reclaim support, and what happens, like, this is the stuff I talked earlier. Like, if you remember when I said break down below, go back up, you shouldn't be immediately trading back below it. Like, this is the version of that setup that is bullish, right? So what it did was it reclaimed that support that should have been resistance, and then just straight went up, and that is a good looking chart. And then the difference between this and this is apparent too, right? So this is a strong reclaim, and then you go to the next resistance. Whereas this is a weak reclaim, because what happened was instantly retested it. And what's it done since then? It's put in a head and shoulders. Could actually play out the same way as this. But I'm not entirely sure if I would want to bet on it. But I could see a breakdown here again, just based on the fact how, like, you've got quite a few tests in here already. And I mean, decently clean head and shoulders. But yeah, this is, like, as a concept, it's very nice to kind of make it obvious what I'm talking about. This is the reclaim that you want to see. This is the reclaim that you don't want to see. Like, these reclaims, yeah, you can bet on it once. Like, let's say you get this candle, right? This one down here, the green one. Pretty obvious that that's going to bounce, right? But where do you take it off? If you're greedy, up here. If not, just as fast as you can. And then, I mean, this is just a weakness in comparison to this one. So this could go anywhere. This one is a strong indication that it's just going to go to the next resistance. And I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Because not every kind of setup is the same. It always depends on what price does after. And it always depends on kind of how strong or weak it acts afterwards. Because, I mean, just getting through a resistance and then doing this, maybe losing it, barely getting it back above it, maybe goes up a little and then drops down below it, then you know, okay, I don't want to touch this. This could go anywhere, really. I don't know where this is going to go. When you get something like this, where it just breaks the resistance, like comes from above, breaks the resistance, and it just goes, right? Like, let's say you get in the position in here, and it just goes, right? I mean, that's the one that you want to keep. Let's say you get a position in here, maybe it shakes you out, maybe it doesn't. Let's say it didn't, and you got a position in here. You get that, like, you want to get rid of that as soon as possible. Very, very different from this one. And then you take the setup. But yeah, that's just how I do these. In general, I'm a little bit more cautious on the altcoins, just based on the fact that in general, altcoins have been underperforming. So crypto winter coming, I wouldn't call it that yet. I mean, Bitcoin's going up and has been for a while. The only thing, like the only reason why people are so depressed right now is because they're all in altcoins. And I mean, I've been talking about this for 3 years now. I'm kind of sick of it. But if you're all in altcoins, you're kind of missing the point. Like, that kind of risk taking is way too high for my liking. And the problem is, I always say it, and then people don't believe me, like that more than 50% in altcoins is just a bad idea. And then altcoins go down 50%, and they're like, ah, shit, I wish I listened, but now it's too late. And then they go down another 50%, and then they start listening, and then altcoins go back up. It's always the same thing. So, yeah, I don't know how to kind of approach the topic, because, I mean, when people should believe me, they don't. And then they start believing me when it's already pretty much over and done with. So, yeah. But in general, even if you're even at the bottom, I mean, you don't want to be all in into something like this. I mean, that just nukes your net worth in seconds. It's not worth it. I was overexposed to altcoins, learned my lesson. I hopefully will not make it again. Yeah, I mean, that's the lesson that you've learned once. And then the thing is, that lesson gets taught to everyone. And then the moment they start turning around, people go into disbelief, because they're like, I've learned my lesson, not gonna buy altcoins again. And then they go up, and then they keep going up, and you're like, what the fuck? And then they blow off the top, and you're like, ah, shit, missed the entire thing. So, I mean, there's just the market being brutal, right? Have to be able to adapt and not be kind of overly convinced of yourself and your ability to kind of judge where the altcoins are going. You see strength, you position for strength. You see weakness, you position for it. And then you just follow the trend, or you try to anyway. Entry-wise, how would you enter once it goes above resistance? Like, for example, on Wi-Fi, right? I mean, I showed you the BTC chart, right? Where it didn't, I mean, even this hit. I showed you the USD chart, right? So this hit support on the BTC chart. So that's one of an indication that, okay, you should be looking for bottom, right? So in my opinion, like you don't even have to buy from, let me actually open back the chart that we did earlier. You don't even have to, Jesus. Where did we have it? Wi-Fi. Which one did we have open? This one? Yeah. Sometimes it's fine to buy into these green rip candles. So for example, this one, right? You get this move down and it gets engulfed by this green candle. I'm fine buying into this candle, placing my stop at the low, and then just seeing where it goes, even if it is into resistance. It's the same with XRP, where you had that massive candle and everyone was afraid to buy in, and it doubled from there almost. That's something crypto just does. You get these shakeouts, this capitulation, and I mean this was kind of mini capitulation, and then you get a mega candle and people are afraid to buy into it, and then it goes back up, right? But in general, if you want to be cautious, you just look for something like this. You have support, you see, can it close back above resistance? And if it does, like for example here and here, you can just market buy that if you wanna. And then where do you put your stop loss? Usually you want to put it down here if you can. That's quite the distance away. So, I mean, sometimes I would put it here. In this case, would have gotten stopped out, right? Just took it pretty much perfectly. This shakeout wouldn't have happened if it was stronger. But yeah, in this, like in general, like I don't have a problem buying into these rip candles as long as they're as obvious as this one. Like whenever you get this strong V, totally fine. Even more so given this close back above resistance here on itself. But yeah, sometimes, like let's say you're trying to bid this and you don't get filled, and it closes back up here and then you bid this and you don't get filled. I mean, then you just missed it, right? If you're missing, like generally speaking, when you're missing like one resistance that gets broken, that's fine. But if you're like chasing something after like it's already moved through like several resistance levels, and momentum slowing down is not necessarily fine anymore. But yeah, I don't like these kind of things. You kind of have to make a plan for yourself, something that you're comfortable with. But I don't mind buying into these green candles and then stopping out if it does. Like even in this case, you clearly have your risk defined because it should never go back up below here. This is a massive green candle. So yeah, it depends. I think like if I traded this, I would have probably gotten stopped out. Like if I traded this for strength up here, this one would have probably stopped me out. And that just happens. In this case, it wouldn't. In this case, it would have. Just something you have to deal with. In this case, sometimes you can just get back in. Like you get stopped out here, lose like 10%, position yourself again with a new kind of risk level, and then trade it back in the high. It's fine too. But yeah, depends on your trading style really. Like some people can only buy support, and in that case, not XRP, YFI, BTC hit support, and then they bid it, and then it goes back up, and they're happy. Totally fine. Or you just have to buy into these green candles. One of the two. Either you buy the support and pray, or you buy into the strength. But it's not necessarily like people always ask me for, okay, if this happens, what do you do? And it always depends. Like I hate answering questions with, okay, it depends. Because I mean, what's that for an answer? But it really depends on a lot of things. Like this kind of green candle, if that happens and the green candle is based on like a fork news or something that's coming tomorrow, you don't want to buy into this green candle because that's going to get sold into the moment the news are through, right? If it does happen out of nowhere, it's very different. And then if you have other altcoins bounce along with it, also very different. If this happens just on this coin and this coin alone, everything else is dumping, it's also more dangerous. So it always depends on kind of the entire market. You cannot just trade one coin while ignoring every other coin, and you cannot just trade these coins while ignoring Bitcoin, and you cannot ignore what kind of led to the pump. So you kind of have to do some researching, see what's up, what's the reason for the pump, is that sustainable, that reason? If it's a squeeze, how high can it squeeze? How are the people positioned in this? I mean, you can look at open interest on these leverage exchanges. You can look at a lot of things, right? So it's never as easy as, okay, you see big green candle, you buy into it. It's never as easy as you have support and you just buy that support. Obviously depends. Are you gonna draw another rocket and moon for Bitcoin this time? I don't know. Last time I did that relatively late in the cycle, so maybe. Do you think it will break the support 30 cents? I think so, yeah, at some point. I would be surprised if 30 cents held. That said, I could see it bounce like easily to 40, 45. I could see it not bounce. I could see it just pull the rug. But I could also just as easily see it go back above like 40, 45, rally into this, and then just sell off. But eventually, I think we're going to trade back below 30 cents, just based on how bad this kind of news is in my mind anyway. Hope that makes sense. Evening, Don. Appreciate your time. Thanks for yours, man. Thanks for coming by. Do you think TRX BTC will get to 70 Satoshi? I have no strong opinion about TRX other than it's shit, but I could see it go back below 70. I mean, this is in price discovery, right? Next support is 30 sets. So, I mean, it could go anywhere from there, really. Like, I mean, this, I'd probably punt some. Even though it's TRX, I really don't wanna. But I could see, like, I would punt some at 30, 40 sats. Other than that, I'd probably punt some above 150. But anything in between, I mean, this is empty space. Literally one candle that took this from this to all the, like, it doubled back then in one candle. And that entire candle is still empty. So it could easily go back and just fill that in completely. So no strong opinion there. Above 150. It would look bullish to me, but as long as it's below, I mean, meh, right? I mean, what's this chart? It's just breaking new lows after bearish retest all the way. Someone keeps asking about NEM, so we can talk about that. NEM, Bitcoin. I just opened a weird exchange. Yeah, not looking too bad. I mean, it's kind of getting rejected here, which you don't want to see, right? So could make a lower high here and then dump back down. Not too fond if it does close back below the screen box. If it closes above, it's fine to go up here, I think. It's kind of the only thing that I can see. Litecoin USD head and shoulders? Oh, really? I mean, I have no positions right now, so I mean, I'm pretty chill. I don't see a head and shoulders. Still not. Nah, man. This is like, if your shoulder looks like this, you should see a doctor. I mean, that's it's, yeah. I mean, it's not head and shoulders. Like, that's a bearish pattern, yes. It just rejected by resistance, making a lower high, but it's not head and shoulders. So you have a high, lower high here. You have equal lows here, but that's not a head and shoulders. It's just something. I mean, if you want to call it like an Adam and Eve or whatever you want to call it, I hate it. Like, you don't always have to fit these into like patterns. You could make a cup and handle out of this, but in general, like, you don't have to put it into like a pattern. It's just a lower high. But yeah, really, like, if it does break 100 again, I think there's quite the move to the downside to be had. But Bitcoin's holding up quite nicely. So why the other altcoins are not in panic after what happened to Ripple? ETH with proof of stake is a security too. Proof of stake. That's something I want to see. Yeah, I mean, XRP is a little bit different because they kind of profit directly from what they're doing with the XRP token. But yeah, I mean, the reason why these altcoins are dumping, or one of the reasons, is because people are taking risk off the table. So, I mean, the weakness on the altcoins, at least to a small part, is due to that. Oh man, YouTube has been so annoying with these spam bots. So annoying. So yeah, if someone puts their number or something in the comments, don't click that. Don't click any links other from the official account, that kind of stuff, because YouTube is one of the worst platforms for these scams. So yeah, Tether is one of the few outliers in pumping with Bitcoin. Yeah, I've seen that too. It's pretty impressive. No idea what's behind it. I know Angelo has a bunch of that and has had for a long time. Angelo actually shilled this to me ages ago. Down here, I think. And then he was euphoric pretty much from here all the way up. So, yeah. And I didn't buy like an idiot. I kind of missed this. Like, if you guys remember, we talked about this before, where I was like, if it breaks range midpoint, it's going to range high at least, and it could easily go back above here. I never expected it to break that easily and then just take off. But yeah, that's an impressive chart. I could see this morph into the next link where it just walks up, like does something like this. But I want to see how it does against the screen resistance. If it does fail there, I mean, you would have this as a shakeout. And I mean, it's a pretty apparent one too. If it doesn't, if it just keeps on trucking up, I could see it go and try to be the new link. the more scam bots, the more bullish. I mean, it's somewhat accurate, yeah. Angelo shilled Phil, and that sucks. Yeah, he shills a bunch of stuff, but I just remember this because he kept talking about it. He just every day he was like, Tether, holy shit, Tether, and I was like, what? And I look at the price, and it just keeps going up. So I had no idea. I don't even know what this does. I just know that Angelo shilled it. Discord link to speak with Angelo, please. I don't even have him with Discord. I just have him on Telegram. And I'm not going to give that out, bro. We're not even that close friends. Just chat in different chat groups, basically. In a few. Tita, yeah, whatever. I can't pronounce it. Stop bullying. So yeah, that's pretty much it. All the altcoins look like shit. Finally back to me saying that. Hope they reverse anytime soon, but as long as Bitcoin doesn't top out, that's unlikely. If Bitcoin tops out, it's probably unlikely that the altcoins are gonna be doing well, at least in the short term either. So if Bitcoin tops out, starts pulling back, you don't want to be exposed to altcoins here. You want to be exposed to altcoins here. So when the pullback is through, and then Bitcoin bounces, and this bounce is where the altcoins just massively outperform Bitcoin historically. It doesn't have to happen the same way. It's happened before. I've played this. This is pretty much what made me be able to do what I do today, right? This kind of massive, like this Bitcoin run, is what I took with from 1 to 20K basically. And then I was able to kind of leverage that with altcoins on this bounce. And that was what kind of made my career possible. So hoping that happens again. Not entirely sure if it will, but I mean, it just makes sense to me that if you want to have like a big altcoin movement, it would just play out like this, because this fucks with the most people. And it's really hard to kind of get over the human emotions that this kind of trading puts you through, right? I mean, it's just gonna make you panic. This is really hard to, I mean, if you're sitting through this, there's a very small chance that you're not shitting yourself. So I could see that happen again, but I don't think you want to be too big into altcoins unless it does happen. And I say that on the off chance that the altcoins are just gonna run away without me, but I am also ready to buy into green candles if I have to. But all of this said and done, these altcoins have been trending down forever. And these bounces have been nothing. So there's no rush on the altcoin front. At least not yet. So yeah, stay cautious. Don't try to be the hero that gets rich in one trade. I mean, if you're trying to get rich in one trade, even if you succeed, you're gonna lose it in the next following 10. Try to kind of take it serious. You're not gonna make something into a career by just hitting it big once. So might as well stop trying for at least that and trying to be consistently good, right? So do me that kind of favor if you can. If not, if you just want to gamble, it's fine too. But you should know what you're doing, right? So that's kind of my word on the end of the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it. Big shout out to Bybit for sponsoring the show. They've been incredibly easy and kind to work with, so really appreciate that. Appreciate their support. If you want to check them out, the links are in the description. And yeah, that's it from me for today. If you want to check out, our stream on Friday, that would be appreciated. But you obviously don't have to. So yeah, thanks for coming by. Like and subscribe and whatever, all that kind of jazz. And see you guys on Friday. Bye bye.